Welcome children, this is Deepa Fadke. Today's session we are going to continue learning Standard 10th History Chapter 4 History of Indian Arts. Let's get acquainted with the points we are going to learn in this chapter. 4.1 What is art? 4.2 Indian traditions of visual arts. 4.3 Indian traditions of performing arts, and 4.4 Art, applied art and professional opportunities. We need to learn about the meaning of art. What is art? Art is natural human instinct to want to share his experience, wisdom, emotions in a beautiful creation. It's acknowledged as art. Artistic creations are of two types: visual arts, which is known as chitrakati in Sanskrit, and second one is performing arts, which is known as lalit or angik kala. The origin of visual arts can be traced out as old as Stone Age man, and we can see such examples in prehistoric rock art that is discovered at many sites in the world. We have learned, children, that art has two types: visual arts and performing arts. Same way, folk art and classical art. These are two distinct traditions of art. When we learn about folk art, we must know that it is created by collective efforts, collective participation of the peoples of the society. But when we learn about classical art, it is expressed within the consistent framework or frame of consistent rules, and it needs a prolonged training to master any form of classical art. Artists tend to have their own method of working. Then later on, it becomes the style of that artist. Then that style has features of a certain period, region, and that becomes helpful in studying art history. Children, see the picture of Maratha style of painting. This kind of painting is also an example of art style. This style, known as Maratha paintings, started developing in the latter half of the 17th century CE. It consists of colored paintings which occur as murals, in miniatures, used in manuscripts. Murals of Maratha style can be seen in the old Vadas at places like Vai, Menavli and Satara in Maharashtra. The Maratha style had an influence of Rajput and European styles of paintings. A student of art, when studies such kinds of paintings, these paintings help in understanding various things about those times in those days, such as lifestyle, attires, customs, etc. Children, we have learnt visual arts and performing arts. When we are learning about Indian traditions of visual arts, chitrakati, it has two types: painting and sculpting, which comes under visual arts. So let's learn about art of painting. Paintings have two dimensions. Either sketches or paintings of nature are drawn, or objects or individuals are also drawn. They are done on various surfaces like walls, papers, rocks, etc. The best example of art of painting is mural of Bodhisattva at Ajanta caves. Now we will learn about folk styles of paintings. Rock paintings usually depict human figures, animals, geometric figures, but the style of rock paintings seems to be changing according to the change of the time, according to the cultural changes from Stone Ages to the beginning of agriculture. And this change has been noticed through the depiction of flora, fauna, various figures, even the colors that were used earlier, which were made up of natural substances and resources. The style of folk style of paintings closely resembles the style of rock paintings. Customs in those days, like decorating the house walls, courtyards with rangoli, using different figures, symbols, even panels means walls, narrating stories. All these things helped to develop regional styles of folk paintings. In India, painting sites are there. In Madhya Pradesh, then Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Telangana, Bihar, Karnataka, etc. Even the rock paintings in the caves at Bhimbetaka are very famous. Rather, Bhimbetaka is a World Heritage Site now. Know children about wali paintings and chitrakati? Actually, the tradition of wali painting and pinguli or chitrakati in Maharashtra. These are the finest examples of folk styles of paintings. There's an artist named Divya Soma Mashi in Thane district who has played a very major role in making Warli style of paintings very popular. He's been honored with a number of national as well as international awards for his paintings. He was awarded with Padma Shri in 2011. The tradition of chitrakati has also been mentioned by the Chalukya king Someshwar in 12th century in his book Manasolas. So, this confirms the antiquity of this tradition. This definitely confirms that since the ancient age, since the ancient times, this kind of paintings was prevalent. It is also interesting to learn about the tradition of narrating stories from Ramayana or Mahabharata with the help of wooden puppets and paintings. It is known as chitrakati or pinguli tradition. People who still practice this tradition live in the village called Pinguli, who belong to Thakar community located in Konkan region near Kudal. It takes actually 30 to 50 pictures on the papers using all natural colors. Then these things are preserved and then handed over to the next generation very carefully. Actually, this kind of tradition, the tradition of chitrakati or pinguli, has to be taken care of by that artist as well as the government. They have to preserve this tradition actually which is on the verge of extinction if it is not taken care of. Children, we have studied about wali painting. You can see the picture at the left hand side, and at the right hand side it is the picture of pinguli or chitrakati. As children, there are two types, classical and folk styles. After learning about folk styles, we will learn about classical styles of paintings. There are 64 arts that are mentioned in the texts. The art of painting is mentioned as Alekhyam or Alekhya Vidya in these texts. It is also said to have 6 main aspects. Shada Ange means 6 parts or 6 aspects, which even our ancient scholars have studied minutely. Agama texts of various religious sects, even Puranas, Vastu Shastra texts also explain the art of painting and sculpting in the context of architecture. So in this way, we will be learning about 6 aspects of classical styles of paintings. An artist must use proper color composition. It is known as Varnika Bhanga. Then comes Rupa Bheda. He should have the knowledge of different shapes and forms. Then comes Pramana. That is, he must use well-proportionate depiction of various features of an image. Then comes Sadrushyata, means an artist should work hard or he should create such kind of art which should resemble towards the reality. Then Lavanya Yojana, that means he should also take care of the aspect of beauty, that is aesthetics. Then at the end, it is proper expressions which is known as bhava. Next heading is miniature paintings in manuscripts. The miniature paintings that are there in manuscripts have an impact of Persian style, and in those days this kind of painting was developed under the sponsorship of the Deccan Sultanates, Deccan kings or monarchs. During the reign of Akbar, who was the Mughal emperor, the Mughal miniature style showed the mixture or blending of Indian as well as Persian style. Now let's learn about Western style of painting. After the arrival of British rule, Indian artists came into contact with the European style of painting. And then there was an emergence of art school that was established by James Wales, who was a Scottish artist during the times of Savai Madhavrao Peshwa in Shaniwarwada in Pune. So he had done the portrait of Savai Madhavrao and Nana Fadnavis. We are going to see the picture also. Then Gangaram Tambad, who was a Marathi artist, who also had worked under James Wales. So he also deserves a special mention over here when we are studying about Western styles of painting. Some of his drawings are preserved in the Yale University, Yale Center of British Art of Yale University. And he had made drawings of the rock-cut caves at Verur, Karle. A number of renowned artists were trained in JJ School of Art and Industry during 1857. So these schools of art provided or offered different courses in European style of paintings. We must mention the name of Pestinji Bomanji, who was an alumni, a former student of this school of art. Made replicas of Ajanta caves, Ajanta paintings in those days. In this picture, children, you can see the portrait done by James Wales. It is about Savai Madhavrao and Nana Fadnavis. Whereas in the right hand side picture, you can see Gangaram Tambat with his guru. Children, as discussed earlier, there are 3 parts in which the whole chapter has been divided. We have completed part 1. Same way, we will be continuing second session in the next video. Till then, thank you.